Hello and a very warm welcome to the explanation of the Two of Clubs. Here we've got an interesting card because partly it is on the Uranus line and partly it is on the Neptune line. All twos are about union and all twos are about cooperation. Well, for the Two of Clubs, it's slightly different, and that is firstly due to the Ace of Spades as its first karma card. We're not going to go into those details today. We're just going to be dealing with the planetary cards and not with the karma cards and other peculiarities and specialities. But lest it be known that the Ace of Spades throws a spanner in the works for the Two of Clubs. Why is that the case? Because it makes the Two of Clubs less cooperative than the other twos. Remember, all twos are looking for union. All twos are looking for cooperation. All twos are looking for a certain level of stability and certainty. So that is being sought and found in cooperation. But if you have a very strong mind, as is the case with the Two of Clubs, and an Ace of Spades as your first karma card, which is all about seeking wisdom, desiring wisdom, and me, myself, and I energy, well, that is a little bit of a problem for the Two of Clubs. Robert Kemp said that the Two of Clubs is often a very beautiful card. Not a beautiful card, but people with a Two of Clubs as their birth card are very beautiful people. So you can check this in your life if that holds true. Now, let's have a look at the planetary sequence of this card. In Mercury, we'll find the King of Clubs. And that adds to the problem the Two of Clubs has in terms of cooperation, because the King of Clubs is the highest card in the club suit, and the King of Clubs is the master of communication, the master of knowledge. And the kings usually rule, but they don't necessarily cooperate. So you see how this is being amplified here through the Mercury card. A very strong mind, a very fixed mind in a way, but also a very clever and brilliant mind. That distinguishes the Two of Clubs. Now you can picture a person that has a king in its Mercury card. The mind is governed by mastery. The mind is governed by a higher level of consciousness. And here, being a club's card and having a club's card as your Mercury card amplifies the mental energy. And having the highest card in the club's suit, in the mental suit, further amplifies that. But that doesn't always make it easy, because kings are usually right, because they have gone through the entire sequence from ace to king. They have arrived at the last stage, and they usually know their stuff. So here comes in the element of less cooperation than would usually be the case with other twos. So that needs to be kept in mind. And also, there's an element of seriousness in here, because kings are not jokesters, so they're not running around sort of cracking jokes and being lighthearted. That's the domain of the Jack. The king is serious, and here it is serious about communication. So communication is going to be deep. The mental processes are going to be refined, king level, court level. So picture this with a person who's got a Two of Clubs as a birth card, that they are very serious. They can be lighthearted. Why? Because they have a Jack in their life sequence. We're going to be talking about this in a second. But here we have the king on the Mercury side, and that tells us a lot about how their mind works. Regal, royal, refined, but also a little bit fixed. King of Clubs in Mercury. Let's see what the notes say. The mastermind, the authoritative intellect, and when Mercury sits here, there's a natural fluency in speech writing and strategic thought. It comes with a burden that there's a pressure to always have the right answer, which could create an internal conflict. Should I speak now, or do I wait until I'm absolutely sure? The king here demands both confidence and responsibility with knowledge. Then that brings us to the Venus card, and here we find the Jack of Diamonds. The Jack of Diamonds is the salesperson, which is rather good because these people can sell, because Venus is about money, Venus is about relationships, and where do you need that energy, the sales energy, or where do you need that energy? In sales, in communication. So very inventive, very youthful, a Jack in the Venus position, but also challenging, because just like, for instance, the Five of Diamonds that has a Jack in Venus, and then we have the Five of, no, it is actually the Seven of Diamonds that has a Jack in Venus, because it has the Jack of Hearts in Venus. And the other one would be the Four of Clubs has a Jack of Spades in Venus. The Seven of Diamonds has a Jack of Hearts in Venus. The Five of Diamonds has a Jack of Clubs in Venus. And the Two of Clubs has the Jack of Diamonds in Venus. So here we've got cards that are very playful in love, but that are not always dependable when it comes to that, because that Jack energy wants to experiment, it wants to play, it doesn't want to take responsibility. And that is neither good in business nor it's good in relationships, because there you need a certain form of steadiness, of reliability, of dependability. But Jack energy wants to expand. Jack energy wants to try out. Jack energy wants to improve. And that means it's very changeable. It's very it's not fickle as such, but it's not as dependable as one would want it in the Venus position. And that makes the relationship element a little bit tricky for those aforementioned cards, but here for the Two of Clubs. Very playful, very inventive, very charming, witty, visionary, and unconventional expressions of love and value, because it's a Diamonds card. Whether it's in the arts, business, or relationships. Youthful playfulness with money and romance, but also a flair for persuasion, because Jacks can be very persuasive, because they know how to wrap you around your finger, or actually their finger, but finger in general. Relationships thrive when they include creative collaboration, Venus, creative Jack, collaboration Venus, or shared missions, but can suffer when either party becomes too self-focused or flaky. Well, that's the word, not fickle, but flaky. You know, sort of, I'm going to try things out, but I'm not necessarily going to stay. And that in relationships, or that in business, is not a very good idea. But that stuff describes our dear Two of Clubs. That brings us to the Mars position, and here we find the Four of Hearts. We change lanes, we change lines, we move from the Uranus line to the Neptune line, and we find the Mercury card on the Neptune line, and that is the Four of Hearts. And here Mars brings action and drive, and we find a very stable emotional base of the Four of Hearts, where the Two of Clubs, crave steady relationships. Four of Hearts is the card of the house, the stability, the satisfaction in the emotional suit. But there's an element of intensity here, how that is being pursued, because remember, it's Mars. It's not Venus, it's Mars. So there's that dynamic, aggressive, intense energy to create a stable foundation. And it's a bit of a contradiction in a way, because the Jack of Clubs, Jack of Diamonds in Venus has a completely different energy compared to the Four of Hearts in Mars. In a way, you would rather want that swap. You would rather have a Four of Hearts in Venus and a Jack of Diamonds in Mars, because that creates for, or makes for, a very stable home, for creative expression in Mars and on the material side where it belongs. But sort of here, you know, to have a Jack of Diamonds in Venus where you would like to have the stability, and you have a very stable card where you would like to have more sort of an aggressive, a dynamic energy, that makes for a little challenge for our Two of Clubs. There's a strong need to feel emotionally safe before acting, but once committed, there's loyalty and passion. This can create inner tension when the head says go and the heart says wait. See, that's exactly what I mean. So they want to, from the mind, take the initiative, but then the heart says, well, let's be conservative, let's be passive, let's rather wait. That's more 4 energy, because that's an amplified 2. And that brings us to another Jupiter card, not another Jupiter card, but another 4 card in the Jupiter position. So here we find the 4 of diamonds. Once again, Jupiter grows what it touches. It's being touched by the 4 of diamonds, a card that needs to work. All 4s need to work. The 4 of heart needs to work for a happy and a steady relationship. And the 4 of diamonds needs to work for a satisfying financial base and value base. And under Jupiter, this is being amplified. Strong moral compass regarding money, values, and long-term planning. Generosity, but not wastefulness, and just a desire to build something secure and lasting. Their success often comes through consistency rather than flash. Stability is their luck. And that is 4 of diamonds energy in Jupiter. Sort of their success under Jupiter comes through consistency, persistence. It's not like flashy stuff. It's more like, keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. Stay on it, be reliable, be dependable, and just sort of keep chugging, keep chugging. You need the routine, and the routine is then sort of rewarded under Jupiter, because that is what the 4 of diamonds under Jupiter represents. Financial stability, value stability, satisfaction, but you need to work on it. And for it, stability is their luck. Jupiter, loves expansion. Jupiter likes to be a little bit too exuberant, but here, nope, for the 2 of clubs, just keep at it, just keep at it, just keep at it. That brings us to Saturn. In Saturn, we find a 2 of spades. The 2 of spades is the friendship card. That's a very conservative card, which is nice in Saturn, but it's a little on the low side. Saturn brings restriction, responsibility. The 2 of spades adds the weight of partnership. The 2 of clubs must learn discernment in who they work with and where they invest their time. So in other words, they need to make good choices in terms of their partnerships. Remember, the 2 of clubs is not exactly that cooperative, rather wants to go its own way. Ace of spades, first karma card, King of clubs, Mercury card, Jack of diamonds, Venus card. So, But then on the Neptune line, there's a different energy, So there's an energy of consistency, persistence, and of cooperation. And later on, as we reach the 6s, then it's about karma and responsibility. So because the Neptune line only has even numbers, with the exception of the last one, the Queen of Hearts. But we are not going to touch that, because that is just outside. That would be the 9th card, and we only be dealing with the first 8. That's the planetary cards, and then Pluto. Poor boundaries can lead to energy drains. This placement teaches the art of balanced cooperation. There we go. How to say no as an act of self-respect. Just become, they have to learn to become discerning, who they cooperate with, who they let in, because once again, Venus, Jack of diamonds, there's value, there's business, there's sales, but you don't sell just on your own. As a 2, you'd rather have someone you work with, someone you cooperate with, and with that 2 of spades and Saturn, that is then again, in a way, confirmed and once again amplified. Cooperation, learn to cooperate, sort of don't come in too forcefully, don't come in too strong. Also with that 4 of diamonds and Mars, by the way. But rather, don't stay under the radar, but just create a firm and solid foundation of values and of your approach to business and life in general. The weight of partnerships under spades. So that's where they learn. It's friendship. It's not like flashy romance, but it's a friendship side, because the spade suit is as far away from the heart suit as it possibly can. And here we find a union in spirit, because that's what the overarching energy of the spades suit is, or the archetype spirit. Matter on the diamonds, mind on the clubs, and heart on, obviously, the hearts. This brings us to Uranus, and here we find the Eight of Hearts, magnetic, powerful emotionally. It's the Playboy or Playgirl card. And Uranus, as always, throws in the element of unpredictability, of change, of revolution, evolution, higher level, breaking things down that Saturn has like built and structured and made firm and fast. And here Uranus comes and say, oh, no, we need to renew, we need to reinvent, we need a little bit of upheaval, and we need that energy that brings that about. Two of Clubs might attract sudden surges of affection or passion. Eight of Hearts, often from unexpected sources. Friendships and social networks can be intense, even transformational. Learning to navigate emotional power without manipulation or overwhelm is the key. Emotional power without manipulation. That is Eight of Hearts energy, because they are emotionally so powerful, they can overwhelm and they can also manipulate. And here under Uranus, it's about groups of people, friendships. Remember, friendship card and Saturn, that's their lesson. And here the Eight of Hearts, which is a completely different card, but in Uranus brings in a similar energy. Emotional power with other people. But also a little bit distance, because the Eight wants to have the power, but Uranus wants to have the freedom. So the Two of Clubs has to learn to combine those rather conflicting energies. Be emotionally powerful, yes, but don't manipulate, and give others the space they need and they want and they deserve. Next up is the Six of Clubs in Neptune. The Six of Clubs is a very intuitive card. Six of Clubs is a very powerful card because it has its Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn cards on the crown line. And the Six of Clubs is about responsibility and compromise in the area of the mind and communication. And under Neptune, that makes sense in a way, because here they have a very idealized version of their path, their truth, or even their role in society, but they also have to learn to compromise and to be responsible, especially when it comes to communication. And that is being confirmed in a way by all the other cards: the King of Clubs in Mercury, the Jack of Diamonds in Venus, the Four of Hearts in Mars, the Four of Diamonds in Jupiter, the Two of Spades in Saturn, and even the Eight, or especially the Eight of Hearts in Uranus. But there's also the shadow of avoidance, fearing the responsibility that comes with their knowledge. Two of Clubs, King of Clubs, Six of Clubs, Three Clubs cards, one birth card, two in its life path. And Neptune says, okay, I want to go all out, but I don't necessarily want to be responsible. But the Six here reminds the Two of Clubs to take responsibility for what it knows. And with the King of Clubs, it knows a lot. This placement urges them to walk their talk even when it's uncomfortable. So the Two of Clubs has to learn to be responsible in its communication, and to be a little bit softer in its communication, and not to give way to the dreamy escapist tendencies of Neptune. And when it does that, it can combine the intuitive nature of the Six of Clubs and the qualities, the dreamy, expanded, visionary, healing, idealizing qualities of Neptune, to bring about a very, very strong knowledge component, which it then can share once it has learned to share this. And because the sharing is the union, the communion part, which is very strong here for the Two of Clubs. Two of Clubs, the psychologist card, so it needs to have someone to talk to communicate with. And Saturn here with the Two of Spades says, okay, so another union card, but now in spirit. So we are communicating like on a higher level in a way, from the clubs to the spades. And often they find themselves in roles that are represented by that Two of Spades. And here they can be the psychologist with that brilliant mind, but also with that youthful energy. But once again, once they hit the Neptune line, they need to be steady and consistent and reliable in their effort. That brings us finally to Pluto. Here we find another 6. 6 of spades, tricky because the 6 of spades has a 9 of spades first karma card. It replaces the 9 of spades in the spiritual spread. Pluto is about death, ego transformation. Spades is about death, endings, letting go. And the 9, first karma card, or the 6. 6 again, responsibility and compromise. But with that 6 owing that 9 something, there's that strong death and ending quality. And here on the Pluto, that is massively amplified. The card of destiny and cause and effect, and it's the missionary card, the 6 of spades. So here's a card with the 2 of clubs that is on a path of where accountability is everything. What they put out will return, often magnified, and their deepest transformation comes from when they stop doubting and start owning the rhythm of their karma. That's a bit of a mouthful. You start owning the rhythm of your karma. You know, you're on a mission, but you're on a mission to first understand yourself, understand the peculiarities of your life path, the different periods, the strong cards and the weak cards. Understand the 4s and the 8s give you a lot of stability. The 6s are sitting somewhere in between. So from their Mars period onwards, which starts at 26, there's a very even and steady rhythm to their life as they go through the 4 of hearts, 4 of diamonds, 2 of spades, 8 of hearts card and periods. But they need, being a 2, which makes them rather conservative. 2s often lack confidence. Self-confidence only comes later in life. So they need to learn to believe in what they can offer, what they have to offer to the world, develop self-confidence, self-esteem, so that they can present their gifts to the world as they were destined to do. And that is it for the 2 of clubs. Some additional information. Seeker of truth walks the path of mastery through connection. Their mind is their tool, but it's their integrity that defines them. A life of meaningful dialogue for the 2 of clubs. I hope you enjoy that. Some additional insights into the 2 of clubs. Maybe you know someone. The birthdays for the 2 of clubs are mentioned in the description. And yeah, if you like this, leave a comment. Would love to know if that is or if that fits any 2 of clubs birth cards that you know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one, and that is the 3 of clubs. Until then, thank you very much for your attention, and bye-bye.